Hello, hello, hello. Okay, going live now. Sorry about this. Um, and just telling everyone that the old live stream is broken, and setting up this one here. So sorry about that, guys. And just making putting the link to this stream in the comment section, so that everyone knows where we are. Oh god, sorry, there's always something that goes wrong. Okay. I'm sorry about this, guys. But you should now know where to go. I hope to see you at this stream in the next couple of minutes, and I will actually be able to interact with you more real time. Yep, I can tell that the audio is working, the footage is working. We're ready to get moving on this stream 15. You would not believe that I've done 15 streams and I'm still this bad at getting the streams set up. I am so sorry. But what I want to be talking to you about this week is the Bloomberg article, Avatar 2 reviews, and also the things that I want to talk about are basically what we also have been hearing from the CEO of View with regards to his comments on the fact that he would consider acquisitioning Cineworld. My interpretation of that interview is that he was just being asked, basically like a rich person being asked, "Would you buy a house?" He was saying, "Yes, I would buy the house, but obviously that would depend on how much cash he could get and the price he could get that house for." And so his comments don't. It's interesting that he would say that, but it doesn't actually mean that he's going to do it in any meaningful way. I didn't read anything in that interview that actually should affect the price of Cineworld. It was just interesting to hear him say that he would consider doing it. So I am just making sure that no one else goes to the wrong live stream. Here, I can't even. Oh, there we go. Remove stream here. There we go. So that should make it. Hi Sam, evening. Nice to see you. Hello. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is Avatar 2 reviews. We've had some come in and they are positive, which is a good thing. Obviously, critics, you can't always tell what their agendas are, but a lot of the time, films like this, they can be very, very overhyped, and the early critics say something, the expectation, had this have been a bad film, I would have expecting still to see reviews saying spectacular visual masterpiece, but this suffers from the same issue as the first film, that it doesn't have an incredibly strong plot. But we can see some feedback here. I'm just going to read it out for you. The first one here: have now seen Avatar twice and am overwhelmed by both its technical mastery and unexpected, intimate, emotional scope. Yes, the world is expanded and sequels teased, but the characters are important. Cameron is on top form, especially in the final act. Good to have him back. Unsurprisingly, Avatar: The Way of the Water is a visual masterpiece with rich use of 3D and breathtaking vistas. It does suffer from a thin story and too many characters to juggle. Interesting. Yet Cameron pulls together to form together for an extraordinary final act and for an emotional and thrilling action. Avatar 2: The Way of the Water absolutely owns bones. I was slapping my seat, hooting, screaming for Navi to take out every last one of those dang sky people. So it's, yeah, these are positive reviews, but a lot of characters, so there is a lot of plot and a lot of characters to think about, and so that's the first minor warning sign. We got to see how audience reacts to it, and the important thing to me is the Rotten Tomatoes score. So that's the most the best indicator, I believe, as to what the box office figures will be without actually having received box office figures. So the Rotten Tomatoes score is the first indicator of how this is going for me. You can also look at pre-sale tickets, but I feel it's not until audiences actually get to see this product that we actually understand how well it's doing. To give an idea of what I think is a good film, I think a good film, what we are looking for here really in this instance is something sort of Top Gun levels, so in the upper 90s. And so to just give an example of what the difference in revenue is, in blockbuster revenue, between a film that does good is 77%, 70s to 80s. You have Thor Love and Thunder that was in the 70s to 80s, and it got a domestic with all the Disney and Marvel brand power behind it. It got a domestic, oh actually let's go worldwide, a worldwide of 760 million. That would not, we are looking for higher than that. Top Gun, with its worldwide release, got 1.5 billion, and that's because it was in this ungodly level of sort of mega high critical and audience score. Now, I personally just think the audience score is the most important thing. Is what audience think of it. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking out for this Rotten Tomatoes score when audiences get to see it. Just hoping that people do understand that the stream is here, because I'm not seeing. Oh, there we go. Avatar 2, probably the first major release in a while that I'm going to make the effort to see in cinema. Just wouldn't be the same experience as to watching it on TV. Yeah, I don't think you are, unless you go to see this in IMAX, I think you're going to be really missing an opportunity to see this properly. However, there are 2 more films going to be coming out, which is exciting, but they will probably be decades away, knowing James Cameron. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on the reviews. I think it's positive, but I'm waiting for that tomato score. Now, the next thing that I need to talk about is basically how cinema is doing currently, profit-wise. So I just wanted to compare a film that is out at the minute, Violent Night, to Top Gun that came out in the basically in the summer, in May. You can see the first 5 days of Top Gun. These are the days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It did. You can see 52 billion, 52 million, 38 million, 36 million, 33 million, 15 million, and that's without the audience feedback yet. So that's basically just from the marketing behind the film, which is just good, actually. It's not even groundbreaking compared to Thor. It was doing similar numbers, but it's the fact that Top Gun managed to maintain that amazing daily box office revenue, whereas Violent Night is getting 4 million, 5 million, 3 million, 1 million, 1 million. So this is the film that I really liked the trailer of, and we watched in last week's episode, and it looks absolutely brilliant. And if we go to look at the audience score, so where am I going to? Rotten Tomatoes. Let's go here, and let's look at Violent Night. Let's see how well this film is reviewed. So yeah, an audience score almost in the 90s. So this is a well-received film that is getting around 5 million. Now, it may be tempting to blame people like not wanting to go to cinema, or this film in particular not being very appealing, but I just want to show you another statistic, which is Black Panther 2's box office figures. So this is when it started. Its opening weekend was actually higher than Top Gun. So Top Gun's opening day was 52 million. Black Panther's was 84 million. So Black Panther did really, really well, and it was doing really, really well until November 20th. November 20th on a Sunday, it got 19 million, and now there usually is a dip from Sunday to Monday. So that one went to 40 million to 11 million. But it dipped to 7 million, and as you can see, it was the first day of the World Cup. So you've gone from 19 million to 7 million on the first day of the World Cup. And then it went, so basically then it's never really gone. Oh, actually, to be fair, back to Saturday, Sunday, it was doing okay, but I really do think the World Cup has had a massive impact on the earnings of Black Panther. You can't know for absolute certainty, but it does seem to look that way. And so when you look at Avatar 2 release date, I think it's a bit concerning that it's released the day before England Croatia. But you know what? People can be going out to see this film. Well, actually, I don't know when the previous knockout matches is, but essentially, if it's happening that day, a lot of people are going to be prioritizing the England Croatia match. But they may still want to go see Avatar 2 in the evening, so it possibly won't have any impact. But just seeing the stats from Violent Night, I am betting that the fact that World Cup Qatar, World Cup Qatar, World Cup Qatar, all happening at around 7, 8 p.m. UK time is having a big impact on why it's getting subpar earnings, despite the fact that it's got a really high audience score. So, now I want to get into the nitty gritty of the articles that have been coming out this week with regards to Cineworld mulling selling off its European theatres. Now, what all articles state, right even from the beginning, the Bloomberg article specifically stated that it's Cineworld's creditors that are mulling selling the European theatres, not Cineworld shareholders. And actually, there's been an interesting sort of quote that has come out from Cineworld, supposedly directly in the Bloomberg article. Cineworld remains committed to working with its key shareholders, so that's Mookie, the Gerdinger family, to develop a Chapter 11 reorganization plan that seeks to maximize value for the benefit of moviegoers and all other stakeholders, a spokesperson said on Sunday. Cineworld has not initiated and does not intend to initiate an individual auction any of its US, UK, or rest of world businesses on an individual basis. So it doesn't intend to sell any parts of its business, and a bit like with what View was saying, I interpret this as Cineworld just exploring every single one of its options. So Cineworld are have a lot of options on the table, which is a great thing. And if Cineworld were to sell off a portion of its business, it would most likely be the European aspect of the business. I also found this bit interesting. Cineworld Group PLC said it intends to emerge from bankruptcy intact after senior lenders were said to be considering sale process for its East European operations. So Cineworld stakeholders, I don't think, ever really want to sell off any part of the business. I think that they are still trying to emerge from bankruptcy without selling off anything. They are waiting out until Avatar 2 release, and also I bet that Black Adam 2 has done quite well, and so has Black Panther 2. Otherwise, I don't think this is the sort of rhetoric that we'd be getting out of the businesses right now. So I personally believe that Cineworld has potentially managed to acquire quite a bit of cash, but we don't know this information, so this isn't something. But basically, the rhetoric here is very much that there's two things that aren't being discussed by the creditors or the debtors. Is this idea of liquidation, or there are rumors of discussing selling off the business and discussing selling parts of the business. But these are all, I feel like they're exploring options. So I feel like it would actually be silly not to explore every option and consider selling off parts of the business or getting quotes for parts of the business if that meant that it would emerge from the Chapter 11 filings more comfortable. But it certainly seems at the minute that stakeholders are not being significantly affected by the Chapter 11 filings from what I can see yet, but that is very, very, very speculative. Okay, so what I also wanted to look at based on these comments is they were talking about selling off the European and Israeli parts of the business, which is these two parts of the business here. It's all in this section. So this is rest of world. So whenever you see ROW, that's rest of world. By the way, please leave your comments if you want them answered. There's a little delay, so basically when this stream ends, you might have missed the chance to have your question answered. So if you leave your comments in the comment section now, it'll be 2 minutes from now when I actually read them. So please put your comments in as early as possible if you want them to be read, and I will answer every single question. I didn't mean Shazam 2. I'm not exactly sure which part of the video that you were referring to, but I'm interested in that film coming out also. Yeah, what I wanted to talk about was basically selling Europe and Israeli parts of the business. Well, that is 1,152 screens, which the creditors would be hoping to get for the debtors would be hoping to get, no, creditors would be hoping to get for 1 billion. And so the rest of the world is basically only 1,152 screens, and that means that the United States and UK are 7,894 screens. And so actually selling, if that was to come to fruition, if they were going to be made to essentially sell off part of the business in order to deal with their debt, and selling off 1 billion was able to make them comfortable so that they can pay off their interest payments and pay down their debt going into the future, that would be a very, very good result. It would be interesting if that could be part of sort of settling with Cineplex or something like that. But yeah, I don't know if that would be that's pie in the sky thinking. But anyway, I don't think they will sell off the business. But if they were to sell off 1,152 screens, it would leave us with the vast majority of the business, and so that would actually, like, if that ended Chapter 11 filings, it would mean that the share price right now is an amazing deal, because essentially 1,000 screens are 1 billion, so 7,000, almost 8,000 screens must be worth 7 billion. The stock is currently worth 60 million. So if you divide 7 billion, it would be 7,000 divided by 60. You could expect the stock to go, if there's no dilution, you would expect the share price to sort of go 100 times its current value. If there's no dilution, and that is what they sold the stock for, you're technically left with 7 to 8 billion worth of cinemas. So you would expect a sort of minimum of 100 times its current value. So that is how crazy cheap I perceive Cineworld to be. However, the reason its price is, if you go back to one of my earlier videos, I put the link to the video in the comment section. The reason that it's currently so cheap is to do with risk, and to do with the risk of losing your entire investment. So I do think that Cineworld is one of those ones where you have to consider, after you've purchased it, as though you've already lost your investment, and then basically if it does survive the Chapter 11 filings, then you are going to be potentially 100 times from where we are currently, because it's currently valued at 60 million, and as you can see, the remaining business, if it was to sell off, which they're potentially not even selling off, is valued by the creditors as between 7 to 8 billion. So that is what the value of the business should be seen as. Okay, guys, I think I can't see a lot of more speculation on for dilution. I thought we would have seen more comments on dilution coming from these discussions. The fact that, so, like, my guess is ultimately useless. So until I can say that there's a 70% chance of dilution, until there is dilution or isn't dilution, it's meaningless. But for what it's worth, I hear no rumours in any of these articles about dilution. The only mention of dilution was at the very, very beginning of the Chapter 11 filings, where Cineworld were just mentioning it in passing as a potential solution to help them get out of the Chapter 11 filings, but they haven't seemed to resort to it yet. And while the share price is where it currently is, I can't actually see them doing that, because they get such a bad deal for the equity in the business. But and I think that there are more meaningful ways in order to get out of debt at the minute that they're already exploring. So they've closed a bunch of cinemas that weren't free cash flowing, a bunch of Regal cinemas that they bought in the Regal deal that Regal had on their books for ages. They managed to leverage this Chapter 11 filing to drop those, so that is basically their free cash flow should have gone up significantly after dropping those leases, and their debt obligations should also have gone down, and then they had money coming in. While they are more of a free cash flow business, they had free cash flow coming in from Black Adam and Black Panther 2. So I think there is a good chance, there's a good argument to be made that they won't have to do very much dilution at all, but they did say at the beginning of the Chapter 11 filings that significant dilution was a real risk, and I think that risk is still high. So until that we are on the other side of Avatar 2 and we know what the earnings from that are, then we don't know, significant dilution is still on the cards as a means to get them out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy. But also, if significant dilution means that existing shareholders continue to hold on to equity, then it's not the end of the world. Oh, my mic has gone robotic. Okay, that's very annoying. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to see if there's anything I can do to help with that. There might not be anything I can do, I'm sorry. Um, da, da, da. Let me see. Is it any better? Let me know in the comments if the mic is any better. I'm sorry about that. Right. I can't actually see any more comments on the stream this week. So if my voice is robotic, I think that's going to be really annoying. So I feel like I've said everything I need to say. So if you do have any questions, you can leave them on any of my videos and I will answer. I answer every single question on my video. If you enjoyed this video, as messy as my setup was this week, I'm going to start getting it cleaner, I promise. Then please subscribe, and since it's free, as you can see, and also liking is also